All right. Hello. Hi, Glenna.
Hi. Hi, hi, hi. How
Nice
are
to
you,
see
Julie?
you. Awesome.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I'm getting ready for facilitators.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Leave in a couple days. And everything's just falling into place, which I love when that happens. When it feels so angsty and weird, and is it going to happen? And is the money going to come in? And the flight's going to work? And poof, poof, poof. Things started falling into place yesterday, and I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for the tools we have, the questions we can ask, what we've chosen for how many years?
Yeah.
Like,
That it's so interesting that you say like that angsty feeling, and so many people get the angsty feeling and they go, oh, and they back away instead of taking two more steps. And it's like
yes.
when you choose, my son just sent me his itinerary. He's chosen to go to Europe for 2 weeks, spur of the moment after
Okay.
his internship ends, and
Yeah.
he's in the middle of these interviews for a job that would be after the internship. Anyway, he's like, I hope this works out, but I'm going 2 weeks to Europe.
I love that.
And it's
I
like,
just,
yes, choose.
Julie, that just, I know our conversation was going to be something different, but this just popped. So, we both have been doing access classes, choosing this crazy consciousness possibilities on the planet for like a third of my life, if I, at this point. And our
Mhm.
kids who chose it and didn't chose it and got grumpy and didn't like what mom was doing and all sorts of stuff, and then kind of liked it and needed it when they were needing it.
Right.
But they traveled with us. They went to classes with us. We took them to Costa Rica years ago because they were all there playing together. I have
Yep.
pictures of Nico when he was a little boy. My son just got back from a big trip to Ireland. Like they are choosing this way of leaning into it, stepping forward, stepping into what they want to choose with so much ease. Like that angst that we were talking about.
Mm,
They don't have a lot of that. They may
yeah.
not
Well,
recognize it.
they think they do,
They do.
but their level of angst is, well, I feel like they just know and they
Yeah.
choose anyway.
They just know. What do you mean?
And that's another thing, like I took my daughter to see somebody yesterday, a medical intuitive, because she's had some weird stuff and it hasn't changed. And she just kept saying, well, I know it's not this, and I know about that, and I know how to breathe, and I know how to communicate with my body. So it was just really interesting to hear her saying that. And it's like, what else? What else is there that she hasn't looked at? And part of it was like relationship stuff. So it was like stuff that she knew about but didn't really want to look at. So it's funny.
Well, we all have that stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Relationship.
but I'm just kind of like, good job, Mom. Good job, Julie. Good job. We chose something fabulous and great, and looking at what it's creating is kind of the weird way, when you choose, you don't know, it's going to create something greater, but you haven't seen it yet. And then you go so many years in, you got
Mhm,
adult kids now, and you can start seeing it. They know
mhm,
there's a confidence they have in their choices.
mhm. Yeah. And it's like really trusting that inner voice. Like I feel like they can't go too far off their course because it's too uncomfortable, and they go back towards, and the comfort could, or the discomfort for them might be it's too easy, which is really weird. But it's like too easy and too boring, and they just
Right.
can't do it.
Because they're not normal. It's supposed to be hard work. It's supposed to be difficult. Yeah.
Right. So that's a great segue into what we were going to talk about, which these we pulled these two cards. You pulled these two cards yesterday, Tenderness and Adore, and we were talking about what you're stepping into and what you're asking of your business, and how that relates to your body. And you pulled these two cards, which I think were really awesome.
Well, we should talk about a little more what was going on with this because
Okay.
just tarot reading. So you guys can see this beautiful. piece of jewelry I wore, I've been wearing.
Oh,
So
you're
Julie does
wearing
this amazing private session sort of thing that makes she, I don't know what you call it. You have a cool name for
a
it.
gemstone reading session.
Gemstone reading session. And she goes, asks you some questions about, could be anything. Could be anything. You asked about business, money, my life, and I was like, I want to out create myself 10,000 fold was kind of one of the things I said. And then she picked out like there's a moonstone and there's an opal and there's citrine and other beautiful gems. While I'm sitting there, she makes this whole thing, weaving and twisting, and part of it was to pick these cards. So it was a delightful session. I highly recommend it to anybody. If you love jewelry and want something personalized, it was delightful. It was delightful to have this made. But those were the two cards that I pulled, which hit me really like, whoo, tenderness.
Hmm.
That's not something I've looked at or asked for, or, I'm kind, but tender's got a different energy. Kindness, tenderness, they're a little different.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
that to be with my money flows. And I can say that things shifted kind of after that session. The next day is when
Hmm.
things started falling into place, that angst started loosening. And a lot of it,
Interesting. Because like part of how I do this, and it's so funny how I even found these cards. They're not actually tarot cards. They're called oracle cards. It's a slightly different angle,
they're lovely.
um, looking at stuff. And I just intuitively use them, but there's energies, and when you come in for a gemstone reading, you are actually seeking something, even if you don't have the words for it. And I have that ability to get those downloads. And as I'm getting the downloads and as you're picking the cards, I'm adding all those energies and matching it with the energies of the stones and creating this like custom elixir for you to wear. And when you wear it, and when you allow those energies to seep into your body, into your life, into your world, they start create. It's like the symphony session. So you get to wear this symphony
Oh,
of energies that contribute to what you're asking for.
and it was really cool. And I'm not, a gemstone person, card reading person, but it was delightful to have that, and it did contribute massively to looking at things differently. Yeah, adore and tenderness. Both of those things I was lacking. I have to say that was because of this angst energy, which, who does it belong to? We know that tool. It wasn't
Right,
all mine. There's a lot of wah before these big facilitator classes access holds because people are choosing big
right.
and they're leaning into something, stepping up into something big. So that energy's around. But when you have that energy, do you have tenderness? Are you adoring your life? Are you grateful for it? Are you being kind to you? Are you being tender with you? And I would have said, the couple weeks before, probably not so much. And it was a like, light bulb moment. So where in your life could you add tenderness? Where else could you adore you and adore what you're creating?
Mm. Yeah. And one of my favorite ways to add all those energies in is the 3-day body class.
Ooh,
Oh, that's right. That you have two
I
of them
did.
coming up.
I do.
But like where else do you get to receive nurturing, adoration, tenderness for you and your body?
There's nothing like it on the planet that I know of. I mean, and I'm going to say that honestly, I've been facilitating this class since like 2010. So let's say a couple times, a lot. And I'm seeing it change. I mean, it's changed over the years. The energy of it has changed.
Hmm.
The questions change. But what I've noticed in the last 4 or 5 classes I've taught, and I've had a slew of smaller classes throughout the US, which has been really fun because I love facilitating in America because I
Yeah.
live here. It's easier to fly, no passport required. It's kind of fun in many, many ways. But there's been what I always say is people say, "How was the class?" And I said, just say, "It was so kind.
Mm.
It was kind." That's the biggest energy I've been getting from the classes I've been facilitating is there's
Hmm.
this kindness people have for the bodies they're working with and for their own body that isn't cognitive. They're not necessarily asking for that. It's just the energies and how everyone bees with the class, with each other, with me. That has the kindness is exponentializing, maybe makes me
Yeah.
giggle.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. And like we need to be willing to be all energies.
Hmm.
And we tend to, when we're talking business and creating money flows, that we tend to use this kind of push or force instead of this pull and relax and kind. So it's very contrary to the way you think, but it actually works and it's easier.
Yeah, it's so different than how we were trained. The pushing, the forcing, the stressing out. I had
Yeah,
forever. One of the probably the things that I was so grateful for when I first started using these tools is so much of that just disappeared. It felt like
yeah,
just it wasn't there anymore.
yeah,
And I could breathe different. I could be different. I couldn't cognitize it. I couldn't explain it. There just was something that had always seemed like it was present and required that was gone, so things flowed easier. And because it is not how we function on this planet, like very few people function, we don't have words to describe it and talk about it. We have lots of words for stress, for
yeah,
things that are hard, things that are difficult. We have difficult, hard, stress, anxiety. We have millions of words, but for
yeah.
tenderness, kindness, ease, flowing, just they don't even
Happiness.
match the energies we're speaking of.
It's funny. Who was I talking to yesterday? Oh, I think it was my sister and my daughter. And we were saying something about how so many people judge that seeking happiness or being happy and like being happy is wrong. And I was like, wow, even in the Constitution, it's talking about the pursuit of happiness.
You
And
know?
somewhere along the way, we have totally dismissed happiness and like, no, you got to work hard, pay your taxes, and then you die. Like,
Oh yeah.
what happened to happiness? Life
Happiness
literally,
is a choice. I think that was a class Gary and Dane facilitated many years ago, and it was the least attended class because it's
yeah.
so weird. Even though it isn't, yeah, it's in the Declaration of Independence, I think, is what it,
Mhm,
whatever. I should know that as American.
mhm.
American.
Bad, bad girl.
Well, the whole Democratic world now is talking about joy
Mhm,
on all their campaigns and their speeches and stuff, and I find that just fascinating. And even like even if they're not really if they really don't know what joy is for any of them, the fact that that word is being used over and over and over again all across the airwaves and in social media is delightful because
yeah,
that changes something,
yeah.
so
Um, I also noticed like when you're doing a bars session, there's those points, kindness, gratitude, peace, and calm. And when we run those on somebody, like I would say 99% of the time, they're super strong. And it's like clearing all the places where we haven't been willing to be that for ourselves, for our bodies, for our choices, for our lives. And it's just so, so deeply relaxing. That's when people usually start snoring if they haven't
at
already.
bars.
And they're like, wow, what was that? And it's like kindness, gratitude, peace, and calm. Do you allow yourself to have that? And they're like, no.
Oh,
um,
well, we are. I'm
yeah.
asking for it, and I love those are some of my favorite. For a couple years now, they've been some of my favorite bars points
Hmm.
to have. In fact, they just turned just right there.
Hmm.
Um, Yeah, what else is possible with all this? It's funny you mentioned your sister Jennifer. She had the best quote for the body classes years ago she gave me that I still will about ease and the flow. She said, going to a body class, it's like you're going down, it creates this ease for your life. It's like when you go down the street and all the lights start to turn green as you come up to them. Like
Hmm.
ease. So that I just remember that your sister said that to me years ago. I think I had it
Yeah.
in a quote on my web page years ago. But I loved that.
Cool.
Because that's something you can perceive, like that when you do get on a big long street with lots of lights and they just start turning green, and by the third one you're like, oh my God, they keep turning green is the next one and it does, and the
Hmm.
next one and then it does. That's what these tools can gift you,
Hmm.
is what you think is going to be an obstacle or think is going to be hard. It's just
Yeah.
not. And you may not notice it the first time that shows up. But then if it keeps showing up, you go, wow, I'm
Yeah.
not showing up easily. And then you do this great question. How does it get even any better than that? How does
Yeah.
it get any better than that? So you're asking for the universe to give you more of that, or to create
Yeah.
more of that with the universe.
Yeah. And it's like even if everything is going well, like it could expand and go even better. But when things are not going so well, or you have, like a surgery or whatever. Oh, and you helped me quite a bit with that, with the eye surgery thing. I think the surgeon was like, what happened? Like, what did you do? Because I've talked to so many people since then, and they're saying, yeah, the first time it didn't work, they had to redo it. There's a lot of that, and that's why they're so cautious and having you be face down. Um, but I was like, I'm not doing that again. No. And
No, you were amazing.
I was turning on those energy. I still do it like every day as much as I can. I'm aware that I can actually run those energies in my body and not just be stagnant. And I keep
So
it
you're
going.
talking about the energies from the body class, a lot of them
Mhm.
that are, I think, almost everything we ran with you, or you turned contributed to changing this, is in or was in the 3-day body class. So that's where you have access to like 60 body processes. Yeah, Julie had to have emergency eye surgery, and she rocked it. She rocked it. The questions she asked, and it was for a minute.
Well, you were very instrumental in the beginning of that. Oh my gosh. Like, it's really like being a facilitator, it's really easy to see the questions that you can ask somebody else to facilitate them. But when you're in it and you're in that seat, when you're on the operating hot seat, um, you can lose the space. And having you there that first time when I was talking to the ophthalmologist, and like destroy and uncreate all the points of view that everybody who ever sat in that chair. And it's like, oh, right. I do that when I take people shopping, when I'm doing like style sessions, and we
Right.
destroy and uncreate all the points of view that anybody who looked in that mirror, because they're there and we perceive it. And you look in the mirror and you're like, wow, why do I look so fat? Why do I look so whatever? But it's everybody's points of view that are like magnetically imprinted on it, that you're aware of, and you can change it. You don't have to be at the effect of it.
No, and yeah, it's amazing. It's funny how like the different things we chose in our life, the different like your style and your jewelry. And I'm a physical therapist and I've had thousands of patients that have had surgeries. Um, no, not that many. That's a lot. Yeah, the people that have come through my classes too, and where we've used all these tools in our businesses, like we be the consciousness tools, and it changes stuff. So we have access to things. Like if you have surgery, I'm a good person to call. I'm a good person to have on your team. I,
Yeah.
I mean, I get that. I just know, like your daughter knows, I know that it will be easier with just a minute of consultation with me,
Yep.
conversation, or just a text, and I'm available.
Yep.
drglennarice.com. You can find me
Yep.
on Facebook.
Absolutely. I highly recommend. I mean, I just needed, a couple of things here, there, and it was awesome. And same thing, if you're going through a breakup or
Right.
something like that, and like
You
it
have the
it doesn't
book.
have to be this big long thing. It can be if that's what you require, but um oftentimes it's these little changes of point of view,
Yeah.
and it's very quick and easy to spot because we're trained.
Yeah. We're trained.
I
We're
used to
trained
think
so cool.
for for many years, after using the access tools and continuing my jewelry business, like I would rack my brain, like, how do I use this? What do I am I a body worker? Like I just didn't, I couldn't put it into words until I started doing the gemstone readings, like, and realizing that I am working with bodies and I'm creating things that work with bodies, um and putting that into words in that way, it started to show me we can really mess ourselves up by trying to define things. So
Yes. Yeah. Be aware of things and don't define them.
Yeah.
That creates more ease in your life.
Yeah.
How does it get any better than that, Julie? This is a great conversation. It's kind of cool to see what we've created. When we stepped into this, it's like, what is this? What are we doing? What is this? I'm going to these crazy classes around the planet and listening to these amazing people speak about possibilities. And wow, it just keeps getting greater.
Yeah. And it doesn't look like the way anybody else does it. I mean, I could easily just, no, I couldn't. I've tried throwing out the jewelry and the art and the whatever. I can't. Like, I can't just do this other stuff. I like to have it all. And what if everybody can have it all? You don't have to get rid of what you used to do. You just
No,
add to it, you add the tools, and you add more consciousness, and
and
it creates something different.
it creates something totally different and expands what you have. Like things get greater. People get more, I want to say benefit, but that is not the right word. It shifts people's realities, and
Yeah.
that keeps growing. Like people see a different, like you sitting in a chair in a, doctor's office going, ah, and it's like, is it yours? All the people who have sat here. That
Yeah.
changed the whole surgery, but it also changed your surgeon's reality too, because now he's looking at someone he did surgery on going, what was that? That was, that's a possibility I've never had, and now he has it.
Yeah.
With
And
what he
when
does
you
with it, we won't
change,
know, but it's there. Yeah.
right, changing your point of view changes your reality. And when you change your reality, it creates the ripple effect in the world. You
Mhm.
know, something else that's popping is when the whole world shut down. Gary, Gary did this class about future, creating your future, because it was totally different, and it still is like, whoa, how do we create with the way things are now? But I remember asking a question, and it had something to do with, doing an hour a day and a day a week to nurture your body and your life.
Yeah.
And I was I was saying, like, can't remember what my question was, but I was feeling like going to have a massage that was, nurturing my body was sort of an extraneous expense. And he was like, this is your life. And if you don't actually choose that for you, what are you creating and what are you choosing? And I realized that, like, a lot of these things that we do that we think are frivolous or extraneous or extravagant, or even wearing jewelry, God forbid, you're at home and you don't have a meeting to go to or a thing to dress up for, you should not wear jewelry. Like, these are the things that add to your life and that make your body feel good. And if you're like, your body is your living this time around.
It
So
is.
what are we doing it for?
Yeah.
To suffer?
Well, that would be the plan if you bought into this reality. We could do something different. Yeah, I love that. I love what you just said about that. The one day one, and that still is a tricky one for me. The hour a day and one whole day a week. And I started asking more questions about it. Sometimes my hour a day may be just sitting watching a stupid movie
Mhm.
in the evening after dinner, which I do a lot of.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to look like a massage or going for a walk outside in the woods, and it can look like that. But
Mhm.
it's just that you let your body receive for it for an hour. And if you do a 3-day body class, which is what that class is about, it's for your body for the 3 days. You get 3 days for your body,
Yeah.
which like I said, this class is unique. I don't know of any other body work modality that offers it the way we do. I know, you could go to a yoga retreat or something, or you could go for a spa week, but it's more
Well,
of a doing than a being for your
yeah.
body.
Like, one of the greatest things you can do is just stop judging for an hour a day. Like,
Yes.
that, that,
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm not this enough, or I'm that, or I'm guilty, or I'm like, fuck all that stuff. Just be like, no, not judging.
And it's is a choice. And we're so trained well at judging, like, since we were little babies, but it's choice. I mean, it can be just fuck it, stop.
Yeah.
There
Yeah.
was a really cool thing that Simone Millis has just had a facilitators for Joy Business, which I was just on. But she got this from a yoga instructor, and I loved it. I used it with my mom. Like those thoughts, those judgments when you're in your head, if you're a head tripper a bit, which I can definitely be, take the thoughts and just energetically pull them to the back of your head.
Huh.
And that can give you enough of a pause to then go, okay, whatever I'm doing to judgment, I'll pot and pock, whatever that is, or just to shift it. But it's kind of a cool trick that I've been sharing a little bit here and there
Okay.
because I loved it.
I would make that one step further,
Okay.
expand it out infinitely.
Yes.
Because then it,
Well, and that's how I've always spoken about it. But this was when I gave it to my mom, who doesn't, the expansion tool, she sort of gets it, but
mm,
it's kind of weird. She's 83. But this one, she was just like, the thoughts went away. And
okay.
then she became more space. So do whatever works for you. Do them both, do them all,
Yeah,
do 1,000 other things, whatever works. But this was just kind of a fun add to my life, which
totally.
is quick and easy because expanding out, I give that one all the time. Just, you can do that instantaneously and you can do this one. It's a
There's
choice.
also like allowing, like if it's pain or whatever, allowing it to drain out your feet into the earth. I like to do that too.
And pulling energy when you're tired, pulling energy through the whole earth up to your body, out to the top of your head.
Hmm.
And so you, and I'll say, like, so you don't have to be on the planet by yourself. You can have the earth
Yeah,
contribute to everything you're creating. You don't have
yeah.
to do it alone.
I remember when you were working on me after my surgery, you were
Mhm.
like, okay, and pull energy and have it come out here and there. And you acknowledged, wow, you pull energy really well.
You do.
And I just want everybody to know it doesn't feel like anything. It might for the first second that you start it, but then you don't feel it. And so you don't recognize that you're like, am I doing it? Am I not? You have to just know that you are.
Yeah, because it creates space. It creates like
And that
it's
was
like
really cool for you to acknowledge because then I was like, okay, yeah. Like
it's funny
you
you say
need to
that.
acknowledge to know that you're doing something because otherwise you disempower yourself.
Right, acknowledging totally contributes to having more of what you're creating. Acknowledging what you're creating. It's funny you say that it doesn't feel space because more space is less dense, and it's a density that we feel. So when I notice that, say you're good at pulling, is the absence of feeling is how I acknowledge that you're
Hmm.
pulling or that I'm pulling. Like, what is it for you? It's like there's
Yeah.
less density, which is less feeling, um,
Yeah.
is how I notice that or recognize it or am aware would be the best, I'm
Hmm.
aware of the pulling. And you
Yeah.
just took a lot of, this is because we don't have words
Yeah.
for it.
I
We
sort
have
of,
hand
I
signals.
guess I feel like I feel this movement in the beginning, like this surge of something,
Yes.
um, and like tingle or whatever. And then it's like you become it and then you don't feel it anymore.
I like that because it does create, I mean, when you create more space, everything's less solid and can move more. So all of your molecules have more movement available. Your whole body does.
Yeah.
So movement and space.
Yeah. And you may notice when you're standing in front of certain people, they feel more
Mhm.
dense and other people feel so space that you like if you ever stand in front of Gary Douglas,
Yes.
his molecules are so
No,
amazing. It makes you forget everything that you were thinking.
it does. I remember meeting one of the first times I spoke with him, trying to find judgment in the world because it's so normal to perceive that in people, and you don't even know you're doing it. And there was nothing. There was nothing to grab onto. It was, and then that calmed me, and it was amazing. And it was kind of like, I want that. I want that.
Yeah.
That's what I would like to have my future be like, to have that for me.
Well, I will acknowledge that you are that, and you are that in the doctor's office.
Oh, to have these tools when I first
You
worked.
know, I know, and that's the thing. It's like we are it, but then we don't think. So we have to really be in the question, okay, what am I?
Thank you for that.
What am I being already? And how, where can I spread that to the rest of my life? So you are that.
Yes, thank you.
And when someone comes to me and they're like in the midst of a horrible divorce, and I'm like, awesome, let's change that. And they're like, what do you mean, awesome? I'm like, awesome. And 45 minutes later, they're happy.
Mm, like magic tricks that are so easy. Yeah, like you're not supposed to clap and get excited that someone's going through a divorce. It's supposed to be terrible and awful. But if you're ending something that's shit,
Yeah,
that's something to celebrate.
yeah. And what beauty can you create?
Her book, Beauty and the Breakup. Here's my
So very cool.
yeah.
Wherever you. And what do you all know? And what are your bodies asking for, really? And what if you were willing to invest? And that was one other thing I wanted to bring up because you had mentioned that you had been in debt over your life and you've paid it off. Like when you go to college and you go to medical school, you have this debt and then you pay it off. And it's something that you're investing in for your future. Well, like, what does it take to look at and be willing to invest in your body
Mm,
and your personal development
right.
for your life and your future? Like there's so many people that have not invested in that, and they're the ones that are suffering, anxietous, unhappy, and it doesn't take that much. I mean, it's not going to be medical school or college,
No,
$30,000 a year. Like
no, it's not going to be $100,000 in debt. A
it's
couple, or
and
investment, not debt, investment in your future.
yes, it's an investment. And I feel like investing in these things has far created greater than college. So,
Absolutely.
what do
They've
you
both
want?
been great for me, actually. Like I mean, I've chosen to invest in, to create with, has contributed to the life I'm having and creating the future I'm asking for. And body classes. I teach the 3-day body class. I haven't attended one since the first one Gary did. I go to his advanced class many times, or him and the other facilitators,
Yeah,
some other Dane and Kalpana, um, many of those classes. But the 3-day, I facilitated, and Gary had one this year, in this summer, and I went and I chose it. And what an amazing gift that was. I flew to Houston, the flight, stayed in a hotel, paid for
yeah,
the class, and came back with, I was just so grateful. My
yeah,
body was so grateful
yeah,
to have those. There's a real magic in the body processes in the 3-day class.
yeah.
They're kind of like the foundation, kind of this thing that creates. You need it to take the advanced class, so it's a different energy of that class. And I've been really aware of the energy over the years, but to receive it that way,
Hmm.
oh my God, Julie, I
Yeah,
was so happy with my
yeah,
choice to go. And the whole thing was the space we talk about, the movement of your body, just this way I could breathe easier with my body. I could be with my body. And I wasn't going into it from any place where I wasn't already great. Like I didn't go in with a body problem. I went in because I'm choosing that. I teach it all the
right.
time. I should take that. Let's do it,
Yeah,
God. Do you want to go?
yeah.
And it was like, yeah,
And
I
a
want to go.
tenderness,
Yes.
and
Yes, tender.
adoring, allowing those things, allowing those things and drinking them in. So awesome. Sorry, we went over a little bit, but this has been a really fun conversation. We should do it more.
We should. We should. We're
Yeah,
on the same time zone. It's so easy.
at least right now, while you're
Yeah.
not traveling.
Yeah. I travel
Cool.
ways.
Well,
Okay, yeah,
so
lovely, so fun. And you'll find all the information you want about us. Like I'm drglennarice.com. She's Julie. Are you julietuden.com or something?
JulieTutonenergy.com. Yeah. And I'll put links in show notes, etc.
Yes.
And yeah, share this with someone who you
Mm,
know needs to hear this information. And the body class in San Francisco is coming up at the end of September, the, the last week in September. And then you have one in Houston the
in
week
Dallas.
before.
Dallas.
Oh, Dallas.
Dallas. That's totally different. They're like not even the same place except for the same
It's
state.
like the TV show, Dallas.
Ah, yeah.
You'll have to wear big hair and big jewels.
Big. But I could do jewels big. Yeah. My hair didn't grow big. It doesn't have that big possibility. Yeah, Dallas is popping. And I love it when new cities start to pop and percolate and
Mm,
they're choosing more. Yeah. So Dallas is the weekend before, the 22nd
cool.
into the 23rd.
Awesome. Well, come visit us in California if you haven't been.
Mm,
September is a gorgeous time of year.
it is lovely.
Absolutely beautiful.
Love.
And I'll set you up with some fabulous place to stay, and there's great food. I mean, we're talking California, healthy, amazing.
And it's in Marin, which is different than the city. It's
Mm.
warmer here. It's more space. It's lovely. Redwood Forest. The beach is not too far away. There's just a, we both live here. I love Marin. It's expensive, but lovely. How to say that? Okay, well, we will talk soon. And thank you for having me on. I love being a guest on your show. And yes, let's do more.
Yay. Okay. Thanks everyone for watching. See you soon.